today's video is going to be my January favorites. I cannot believe January is already over and we are in the new year of 2022. This is actually my first favorites video that I'm filming for this year. So because always for December, I always do my best in beauty for 2021. Well, usually I do those in January, but I don't film a favorites video for December because it's always my yearly favorites. So we have quite a few palettes to talk about. I tried a lot of palettes last year, but I wanted to talk about the palettes that I've been using pretty consistently over the past month or two. So I'm just going to jump right in. We're going to start out with Colourpop because I have 4 palettes that I really want to talk about that honestly I think are some of their best quality palettes I've ever tried from them. These palettes really stepped up the quality and I really just enjoyed all of them. So let's start out with the first one that I tried in December, and this one is the Colourpop Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer palette. This ended up becoming my favorite collab palette that they released last year. I just think this palette is beautiful. And it's so funny because it's always the palettes that I want to skip over that end up becoming my favorite palettes from them. And I wasn't going to get this. I was just going to get the highlighter and the lipstick. Then I ended up wanting to get the palette. I was like, it looks like such a pretty palette. And I fell in love with this one. The quality of this one is just so good. The mattes in here are pigmented, super soft and blendable, and the metallics in here are like wet looking, and they don't have the same kind of crumbliness that like the Barbie palette has in this format. I love the Barbie palette. It's one of my favorites as well that they released last year, but I think the quality is even better on this one. Like every single shade is super blendable, and the metallics are just super wet looking on your lid. So I have been loving this one, and I also have been using it quite a bit in January as well. I want to use it as much as possible before winter is over. So I've been reaching for this a ton, but it's also been like one of my go-to neutral palettes that I've been using when I'm not working, because there's like basically this whole section of the palette is neutral. Like you can even use the reds as neutral shades because I find that reds are still very flattering and neutral to wear on an everyday basis. It's really just like this side of the palette but it's still muted. They're like muted green colors, but I just thought they did a beautiful job on this palette. They really put a lot of thought into this collaboration. I find that the whole collection was just a very well thought out collaboration. Like some of the other collabs, like the Nightmare one, I just feel like besides the palette, I feel like that collection was like very thrown together. They didn't really put a lot of thought into like maybe thinking that people wanted cheek products or highlighting products, and that there was only eye products and lip products. For this collection, you had a whole bunch of things. You had a highlighter, you had lipsticks, you had lip liners, you had an eyeshadow palette, you had a bath bomb, you had hair clips. It was just a really cute collection. Like people want more so like those products that are more well-rounded rather than like 10 million eye products, because like not everybody's going to want to buy every single eye product out there, and not everybody's going to want a million palettes. But I think this palette is beautiful, loved the quality, and I just think that this is such a nice palette. I probably am not going to swatch any of these because I have a lot of palettes to talk about. Let me just swatch like 1 or 2 shades just so you guys can get a feel of what I'm talking about. But really just like I thought that the mattes were rich and beautiful, and the metallics were just wet and very metallic on the lids, and I just have been really enjoying this palette, and I just can't get enough of it. I keep on reaching for it. So it's just such a good palette. So that is Handsome Nose, Elf Practice, and Full Power. Just really nice. I wore it on Christmas, and I'm pretty sure I wore it on Christmas Eve as well. It was just my go-to palette, and I love it. It's so good. I thought I put tissues in here. Oh, dang it. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure I grabbed some tissues just in case if I want to swatch anything else. So yeah, that's been probably my most used palette out of all the palettes I'm going to talk about. I've just been reaching for it a ton. My other favorite from them that I picked up in December, I believe, is the Or Kid You Not palette. This is the only 9 pan that I got from them since the Wine and Only and the Ornate palette. Those were the only 3, actually, in the Tinkerbell one. So I picked up 4 9 pans last year, but I was really trying hard to resist getting this palette, and then I just decided to get it because I saw so many YouTubers that I love watching and trust for my reviews of Colourpop. Angelica Nyquist ranked this palette, I think, the highest besides the Lush Life palette, which I still haven't tried that palette yet. I might try that this summer, but it's always so hard for me to determine which palette I really want to get. So I just thought that this palette was so beautiful. I really didn't have a palette like this in my collection, so I really thought that this added tones that I don't really have in my collection, because I was like, this is such a beautiful, like, berry tone purpley palette, and it actually goes really deep and rich in tone, and the shimmers are just so pretty. Even though this is just a 9 pan palette, I love my looks every single time I use this palette, and I just think it's so pretty. So I really have been enjoying this one as well. And the mattes in here, they're a little bit stiffer than the ones in the Rudolph palette, but they're pigmented and they build up really, really nice. So there are some of the mattes for you guys there. This one is Moth, this one is Ada, and then this one is Buddies. It's like they're very rich and deep in tone, and that's what I like when Colourpop comes out with these kind of deeper, richer, matte palettes, like the Wine and Only, the Or Kid You Not. Like, this is where they really shine, rather than coming out with like a million like peach and neutral palettes that literally nobody needs. I'm like, these are the collections we want to see, what I want to see anyway, because every time I see them release like neutral stuff, people are like, we're over it. Like, we want something fun and new and different. And I know like pretty much everything has been done, but like this was just new and pretty and innovative, because they really hadn't done anything like this. And the packaging is stunning. But I actually think that the shades reflect the packaging of this one. Like the Natasha Denona Retro palette and even the Plush Like Me palette that I'm going to mention in a minute from Colourpop. The packaging is very deceiving, but I actually think the Retro palette is more deceiving than the Plush Like Me. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So this one is Pretty One, and this one is OMG. So yeah. Love this palette. It's beautiful, and I really want to use it even more. I've only been able to use it, well, I've tested out all the shimmers, but I've only been able to use it about 5 times, so I would like to use it more over the next couple of weeks, because I just think it's such a beautiful palette, so I really just want to use it even more, but I've been using it when I can. So that is the next palette. Okay, then the next one, like I said, is the Colourpop Plush Like Me palette. This one I was actually not going to keep. I actually just finished testing out all the shades in this palette yesterday, because I wasn't really using it all that often, because I did get this as a free gift with purchase of an order of $40 or more. If you did $25 or more, you got 1 free palette. And if you did $40 or more, you got 2 free palettes. So I picked out this one and the other one that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So this is the Plush Like Me palette. First off, the packaging, everything about this palette is beautiful. The packaging, A++ for this palette. I love the velvet fabric that you have on it. It's one of the most beautifully packaged palettes they've ever come out with. I also love the bigger pans in here. It feels very heavy and well made. So it's really, really nice. And I just think this palette is so beautiful. I thought when it first came out, I was like, oh, that's hella boring. There's really not too much red in here, because the packaging has a lot of red in it. And I thought it was going to be more like reddish tones and more like grungy tones. Yes, the first 2 rows are very light, but this row makes the whole palette, because if it didn't have these 3 deepening shades in here, it would just be another boring neutral palette. But the quality of this one is so, so beautiful that I'm like, it makes up for kind of the boring color story, because I love my eyeshadow every time I use this palette, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, the formula really is so good, but I'm like, the palette's so boring. Like, I really just didn't think I was gonna love this as much as I do. Like, I'm not sure if I love it, but just the quality of this is so good that I'm just like, wow, it's actually a really nice palette. So I would recommend it if you guys are looking at it. And it's such a great everyday palette. This has a lot of staple shades in here. And I do love that it's more matte heavy than shimmer heavy. There's 8 mattes in here, so it makes it a little bit better to create looks with it. And there's so many good complementing mattes to the shimmers that it just turns out so pretty. Like, you have this green for this green. You have all these peachy tone shades for like this rose gold and this light shimmer. You have like this cool tone color, and then you have like these deeper reddish, brownish tones for this red. So they're just very beautiful complementary colors. It's a very 90s palette, and I just think it's so pretty. So I was really impressed with this, a lot more than I thought I was going to be. I was like, wow, it's actually even prettier in person, which I always feel like is the case. But it's really, really nice. I definitely wouldn't have paid for this palette. That's for sure, because I did skip over it. That's just my personal opinion. If you are eyeing it, I would suggest getting it. Because look at that matte. Do you see the difference between this matte and these mattes that I just swatched? How smooth and pigmented that one is. And that one is velour. Like, I can tell the difference between that one and the other ones. Not saying that these ones aren't great, but this one is an even smoother formula than these ones. They're super pigmented and they go on beautifully on the eyes, but this one is just super buttery and blendable. And then the other 2 colors are Video Night and I can never read this. Knee Highs. So there are some of the shades for you guys. Really enjoying this palette a lot more than I thought. Okay, and then the last palette from Colourpop is the Lehmann Cello palette. Basically, these 4 palettes were the 4 palettes I tried at the end of 2021. I tried basically all of them in December. So I didn't get to talk about them for my January favorites or in December because, like I said, I was doing my yearly favorites. So again, packaging on this, gorgeous. I absolutely love this packaging with the lemons and the flowers. It's just so cute and just screams summer to me. And again, the quality of this one is so, so good. Again, I didn't think I needed this palette, and I'm so glad I was able to try it for free because I also skipped over this palette when they released it, and I skipped over both collections. The only thing I got from this collection was the brush set. I was like, I really don't need anything else. But oh my god, this palette is so beautiful. I definitely love this one more than the Plush Like Me. I feel like you can do so much with this palette, and again, it has such good mattes in here. And the metallics in here are wonderful. They're so wet and metallic looking, like really, really pretty. So I'm going to swatch some of these shades. Oh my god, they're just so good. Look at that. I'm going to try and swatch them where I have room. But I think you can see how good those are. So that one is La Festa. That one is Serenade. And this one is Capri. The swatches aren't really going to do them justice. They look so wet and metallic on the lid. And again, they're just super blendable. And the mattes in here are beautiful as well. So I really am digging this palette as well. And I've used it quite a bit. I have tested out all the shades. I haven't used it since I used all the shimmers. I've been using some other palettes more that I wanted to use again. I'm probably going to use this palette more in the spring and summertime because that's the vibes I'm getting. I just wanted to test out the whole palette for you guys to really give you my thoughts. And I freaking love it. It's gorgeous. If you guys were eyeing this palette as well, I would highly recommend it. Okay, so now for some indie brands. The first one is my first palette from this brand, and I absolutely fell in love with this palette and the formula, and I kind of want to get their newest release that they just came out with. It's gonna be available for pre-order next week, and I'm talking about the Unearthly Cosmetics Fall Magic Palette. This is when it still had the Alien Cosmetics packaging. Oh my god, you guys, this palette is so beautiful, and the quality is just fantastic. And I'm so glad that Alien came out with a color story that just, I feel like, screamed Caitlin, because the other color stories before that, I was just like, they were a little bit too colorful for me. This is my vibe. There's some good staple browns in here, but there's also some beautiful pinks and purples and greens. Like, they just, all the mattes are so complementary to the rest of the colors in the palette. Like, all the shimmers, again, they complement them beautifully. Like the green with these two greens, you got a purple, and then you have these two, this purple and this purple. You have this orange that can go with all of these neutral shades. The same thing with this color can go with these neutral shades. And then you have this orange color again. And the same thing with this purple. It can go with the pinks and the purples. So they're all so complementary to each other that it's so easy to create a look with this. And I feel like they made like colors that still people like want to like dip their toes into color. Like, I feel like green and purples, I've been loving green eyeshadow this past year because I tried a lot of palettes with green in them, like the Oden's Eye Giant Wolves, the Tinkerbell palette, this one, and I've just been loving green eyeshadow looks. I love how they make my brown eyes look. But the quality of this is amazing. The mattes are so wonderful. They blend out beautifully. They're so smooth and blendable. And the shimmers are out of this world amazing. And some of them are duochromes, and they just shift so beautifully on your lids. So absolutely love the formula. It's just stunning. And if you guys have not tried Unearthly Cosmetics, I highly suggest you do, because if you want to try something that has a little bit more amped up spiciness to it, they are wonderful. Leaves is such an interesting shade. Look at that. Oh, they're so rad. So this one is Autumn right here. This one is Leaves. I love how I'm like, it's autumn when I'm not pointing to anything. And Earth. Oh, the swatches, again, aren't going to do them justice. They're just so gorgeous on the eyes. Like, just beautiful. Trying to wipe the eyeshadow off my fingers. We shouldn't be here too long because there's not too many favorites. I don't have too many new products besides eyeshadows and foundations. So, but again, wonderful quality. You need to try this because it's stunning. I'm not going to go too much into it, but they are also just releasing a Valentine's Day palette next week, and I think I'm going to get it. I've actually been repurchasing from a lot of brands this year so far. I haven't really bought too many new brands. I've repurchased from Colourpop and Gourmand Girls, and now I'm thinking about getting the Alien palette too, because I was just so blown away by the quality of that one. I really want another palette from them. And that Valentine's Day palette looks beautiful. I was about to say Valentines. Okay, and then speaking of indie brands, I wanted to talk about Oden's Eye again because you guys know how much this collection blew me away when it came out. But honestly, I've only been using these two palettes out of the three. I haven't really used the Hummingbird palette, and I'm talking about the Legendary Diversa collection, and I wanted to mention the Red Dragon palette from Judy and the Giant Wolves palette from Annette's Makeup Corner. I've been reaching for this quite a bit again, and this is just such a stunning warm neutral palette, you guys. Oden's Eye's formula is just fantastic, and it's just like Alien Cosmetics. They both blew me away, and the shimmers in here are phenomenal, and the mattes are just they just look so amazing on your eyes, but they're so pigmented and super, super smooth. So I absolutely love Odin's Eye, and I have swatched these probably like a million times already, but my two favorite shades are Solar Flare and Luna, so I'll just swatch those really quick for you guys. It's really not going to do it justice, though. You really just got to use this on your eyes, because Luna shifts way more than what I'm showing you right now. It doesn't even shift in the light here. It shifts like 10 million different colors on your actual eyes when you put it on. And then Solar Flare, same thing. It shifts like gold and green and red. Luna shifts like orange and red and bronze and gold. Oh my god, so wonderful. I'm not going to swatch too many shades. The mattes in here are fucking fantastic. I absolutely love this palette, you guys. So, yeah, phenomenal quality. Cannot wait to see their new palette, because they're actually extending the Legendary Diversa collection, and they're coming out with another one with another influencer that they've been teasing for the past couple of days, and I'm super excited to see what it is. Based on the blurry photo that they released with the color story, it looks gorgeous. And then the other palette is the Giant Wolves palette by Annette's Makeup Corner. Oh my god, like this palette really made me love color this year. I mean, I loved the Angelica Nyquist palette, but this one is even a more like wearable way to wear color for me, because there's so many beautiful grungy matte tones in here, like the greens and the pink and the blue and the purples and the black. I'm so glad she put this black in here, because it deepens up every look beautifully. And this is one of the best blacks I've ever used. It's not the blackest black, but it's one of the most pigmented and blendable blacks I've ever used. It's kind of more like almost a grayish toned black, but it's stunning. And then the shade Eternal is the duochrome in here. And then Flare, of course, you guys know I love gold shimmers. They're like one of my favorite shades to wear. I'm trying to swatch these for you guys, but again, I'm not really going to do them justice. So this one is Annihilation. This one is Flare. And this one is Eternal. Eternal's supposed to shift a bunch of shades too, because that one is a multi-chrome. It shifts like blue and pink in person, but again, when you put it on your eyes, that's where the magic happens, and it is so stunning. But yeah, I cannot rave about this collection enough. I'm sorry if you guys didn't get your hands on them, because they are now discontinued. They were available for almost 3 months, but this one did sell out first, and then the Red Dragon sold out. But this collection was just phenomenal. Beautiful job. They did an amazing job on these. And then the last indie brand that I wanted to mention is another, which is the first new brand to me this year, is Adept Cosmetics, and this is the Amunet New palette. So this palette, the shimmers in here are absolutely stunning, and I really do love the mattes in here as well too. I just find them a little bit hard to blend together. Like, I feel like this shade Emotep is just not deep enough for me. I wish that the brown was just a little bit deeper. I mean, this is a good deepening shade, and all of the shades work really beautifully together, and I haven't found myself really reaching for another palette to use this. It is pretty much a standalone for me, and I can create some beautiful looks with it. And the shimmers are so interesting and stunning, but like some of the shimmers, since they're more of a wet formula and very like metallic formula as opposed to like the Alien or the Odin's Eye, so they are very prone to transferring off my lid even when I'm doing my eyeshadow. So I find that I have to redo it a lot, and then I'm having a lot of fallout. But at least, you know, I do my eye makeup before I do my face makeup, so it's not too bad. But I just find it takes a little bit more extra work to blend these and get the lid shades to stay on my lid because they are more prone to transferring. But they are stunning. There are some beautiful duochrome, even multi-chromes in here. This one is Bastet and this one is I'll try and swatch them for you guys. They're right here. It's not going to be a great swatch. They are shifting pretty well in person. This one is Bastet and this one is Let me see if I can get a better swatching of That's that color. It shifts more green to pink in person, and this one shifts more like bronzy red to gold. Beautiful. Gorgeous. They really are gorgeous shades. I'm trying to play with this one as much as possible too. I've used it quite a bit. It just takes a little bit more work to blend, and those are some of the mattes for you guys. They are very smooth and soft, the matte shade. So this one is Amon and this one is Horus. So there are the Adept Cosmetics shades from the Amunet New palette. This palette was not cheap, but I paid it off with some installments, but Adept isn't the cheapest brand. So unless like you are really invested in the color story, I wouldn't pick it up until it's like something you can really like splurge on. But multi-chromes aren't cheap, but I really wanted to try Adept Cosmetics, and this was the first palette that I really was interested in from them because usually they release like all shimmer palettes, and this one had quite a few mattes in it. So I was like, oh, I really think it's really pretty. So that's why I decided to get that one. Okay, and then two more palettes. I'm not going to swatch either of these. I'm just going to talk about them really quick. So this one I'm actually wearing on my eyes today. This is the Dior Backstage Eye Palette in the Amber Neutrals. And I've been so back and forth about this palette all year last year that I finally just decided to pick it up at the end of the year this past year because I had like $40 or $50 worth of rewards to use at Sephora, and this was the last one that was in my Sephora store, and it was also sold out online along with a couple of other Backstage palettes from Dior. So I was like, that's a sign. And what was crazy is that it was the last one in the store the next time that I went there after like a week of checking what for like their new foundation that I'll talk about in a minute, that this palette was still there a week later and it was the last one, and I was like, how is it still there when it's sold out online? And I was like, but this is still there and no one's picked it up yet. So I picked it up, I was holding it, and then I was looking at something else, and I was overhearing like these two girls saying like, do you have any more of this palette? And I was like, should I just give it to them because I don't need it, but I really want it? And I was like, no, I want to try it and use it. So I'm wearing it today, and I'm so happy that I kept it and I didn't give it to them because I freaking love this palette. It is so beautiful and easy to blend, and it might look like a boring palette, but they blend so beautifully together. They're like a velvety, pigmented texture, and the shimmers are light, but they give such a beautiful, like, ethereal glow to your lids. Dior just makes beautiful powder products, and they make beautiful liquid products. They are my favorite high-end brand, but this is stunning, and it's just so easy to use, and they're so beautiful, and they're, like, softly pigmented, but you can build them up, and they blend out just beautifully. I gave you guys some finger swatches. Those aren't exactly that great of a swatch, but I am wearing it on my eyes today. So I'm wearing this shade in my crease, just all in my crease. Then I used this shade to define the crease, and then I always use this one on my outer corners. And then I put this gold shade all over my lid, and then I use this cream base shade on my underneath my brows, and I really love how it looks. And then I took this color here and put it on my inner corners, and that's my look today. I love it. It's so easy to use, and these are so easy to blend. And they just look beautiful on the eyes. I don't know what it is about this, but you just feel like you're wearing a luxury formula when you use this. And I think that this is the best value for a luxury brand. Get the Dior Backstage palette. Don't waste it on a Quint or a Quad from Tom Ford. Get those because they're beautiful. And then the last palette I wanted to mention was the Love for Sale palette by House Laboratories. This is definitely by far her best palette so far. I did really like the first one, but I think that this is my favorite one that she's released. It's beautiful. I think that this is a great everyday palette for someone, but every time I wear this, I feel super glamorous. Because I think that there's a lot of great matte shades in here. I think that her matte formula is perfection. She has one of my favorite matte formulas, but I also think it's just not that hard to formulate mattes, really. I think it's much more difficult to formulate shimmers these days. I feel like for a lot of brands, they got the matte formula down. But this is a really good matte formula. I really, really like it. And the shimmers in here are very beautiful. But what I do find with some of the shimmers in here is that they do kind of emphasize a bit of texture on my lids, but I don't really mind that because the shimmers are so pretty and metallic and beautiful. So it's not too much of a big deal. But if you guys were eyeing this palette, I saw a lot of comparisons to the Born to Run palette. A lot of people thought it looked similar, but I never owned that one, so that's why I picked this one up. And I do collect her palettes because I am a huge Gaga fan. I don't collect the quads. But these are just really pretty. Let me just swatch a couple. They are so stunning. And I just thought that this was actually a really, really nice palette. So, and it is a standalone for me because there is a, I love that she always puts a brow bone highlight in every palette. So this one is Love for Sale, which is the signature shade. This one is Nina, and this one is Etta, which is named after Etta James. So really beautiful. I love that she made a palette after her, named a palette after her passion for jazz music. And I just love it. And I feel like this was a huge ode to Tony Bennett. The only shade that I feel like is kind of out of place in here is that like kind of fiery red shade in here. I think all the other shades work beautifully. The only thing is that I wish that this shade was kind of like a light, like kind of like another purpley pink shade that would complement some of these other colors, or even like a green to complement some of the green tones in here. But other than that, I think it's a wonderful palette. All right, and then 3 foundations to talk about, because I did try 3 foundations these past 2 months. I don't know, I was kind of bored with my foundations that I had, and I've been wanting to try some of these foundations for a while. Actually, only one of them, because the other 2 I'll talk about in a minute. So the first one is the YSL All Hours foundation, and this one's in the shade B10 Porcelain. This one leaves my skin to be so beautiful, and it has a beautiful soft matte finish to it. I love how it looks on my skin. This one and the other foundation that I'm wearing today are a little bit, they are fragrance, so if you guys don't love fragrances, it does dissipate after you apply it and you like set your face and you're good to go. But I do notice that this scent kind of lingers a little bit in a mask if you have to wear a mask like to work, if you work, you know, outside of your house. I do notice the fragrance a little bit inside my mask, but it doesn't really bother me because it's very, very light once you blend it out. But I love it. It's beautiful on the skin, and I highly recommend it if you were looking at it. I was kind of afraid that this was going to be super matte on my skin, but it's not. It's a beautiful demi matte finish, and I love how it makes my skin look. I think out of the 3, this might be my favorite one. The next one I'm wearing kind of emphasizes my pores a little bit more than this one. I think this one wears a lot better than the other one, but I still love this one on my skin, but I absolutely love this. And then the one I'm wearing today is the Dior Forever Skin Glow foundation, and this one's in the shade 00. So they actually reformulated this foundation again. And when I wanted to try this foundation was a couple weeks back. they were all sold out. And I was like, why are these all sold out? Like, I understand, like, maybe, like, because a lot of shades were actually already sold out before all of them were, but they pulled them all out of the stores and online because they were reformulating it again, even though they had just reformulated this like last year or something. They reformulated it to be clean. So then they had it available on the website, I think almost a month ago, in the new reformulation again. So I decided to order this and pick this up in the newly formulated one, and it's stunning on the skin. This is my third Dior foundation that I've tried. I've been through 2 bottles of the Dior Air Flash foundation. I love that one. And I went through one full bottle of the Dior Skin Star Forever foundation, which I think this is the one that replaced that. And then I also went through had the Dior Backstage one. I always thought that smelled like super alcohol-y, but it was gorgeous on the skin. So I absolutely love Dior foundations. Just this one is a little bit more of a matte finish. Even though it's a skin glow foundation, I find once you set it, it's more of like a demi, like almost velvety matte finish. And it looks beautiful on the skin. I just find that it kind of emphasizes my pores a little bit here and here. But it's stunning on the skin. I just don't think this one lasts as long as the YSL, but it still looks great on my skin. So, love it. It just, I can notice it does emphasize a little bit of my pores, but I absolutely love it on the skin. And then the last one was the biggest surprise to me. And this one is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. I picked this one up because this and most of the Stay Naked line was half price on Sephora's website, that I decided to pick this up and try it finally, because when this came out originally, everybody was saying if you had dry skin to stay away from this foundation because it was super matte. I don't know what they were thinking, because this feels amazing on my skin, and it's super lightweight and velvet-like as well, and it looks stunning on my skin. And it's actually way more lightweight and a lot less coverage than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be super full coverage and super heavy on my skin, but it's not. It feels amazing, and I absolutely love it. And this one's in the shade 10NN. I'm hearing that this will probably be discontinued along with the concealer, which I think is stupid because they're both phenomenal products. Or they need to come out with a reformulated version of this or something, because they haven't launched a foundation since this foundation. So they did launch the Hydromaniac though, and I absolutely love that too. And then I just wanted to give a shout out to the Stay Naked Concealer. I absolutely love this one, and I picked this one up as well, because this one was also half price. And I don't think there's any other concealers. No, I haven't really picked up any other concealers lately. But I think that this one is beautiful. I've been using it a ton since I picked it up. I have went through an entire one before. I absolutely love Urban Decay's concealers and complexion products. They just know what they're doing when it comes to complexion products. With their eyeshadows, though, I hope they get it together. I don't know what's going on with that, but they still know how to do liquid products. But these are also older products. So, absolutely love this concealer. And again, I'm in the same shade. And then I do have 2 pressed powders to talk about, because look at me, I picked up 2 pressed powders already this year. So these are my 2 pressed powder purchases for this year. So one, the Urban Decay Stay Naked powder was also on sale during that time, and this was on sale for half price as well. So I really wanted to pick it up. And this one's also in the same shade, 10NN. Beautiful on the skin. I absolutely love this. Again, super weightless, super smooth, blurs my skin, looks amazing. I love pairing this with this. That's the only way I've been wearing it so far, and it's a gorgeous combo. So, absolutely love this powder. I've never tried any of their pressed powders before, and this one's phenomenal. I love it so much. And then, the one I've been absolutely obsessed with is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. Oh my god, you guys, this is so good. I would compare this to the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Powder, but like a fraction of the price. It is so silky smooth on the skin and super lightweight, and it just makes your skin look airbrushed. And it's so weightless on the skin that you barely feel like you're wearing anything on your face. But I've been using this just to set like tinted moisturizer. And it's gorgeous. And this one's in the shade Fair 1. I really feel like it blurs your pores. And it's so beautiful. And I've been hearing such good things from most of my favorite YouTubers that they love it too. And I just love it. This has been my new go-to powder. So I decluttered the Wet n Wild one. And now this has been my go-to one. I, of course, have still been loving the Dior one as well. I'm wearing it today. And I did hit pan on it recently. I just wanted to say that's still one of my favorites. But I've been using those other two a ton. So I absolutely love them. Okay. Then just two mascara favorites. Actually, this is not the mascara I wanted to talk about. This one's the mascara I want to talk about. So I've been trying to be really good about not picking up too many mascaras, and I really haven't. So the only new mascara that I got this past month or two is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Mascara. No, Fetish Eyes Mascara. The Skin Fetish is the foundation and concealer, obviously. I'm wearing that concealer today, actually. And I really like this mascara. It makes my lashes really nice and curled and long. I do notice that it's still making my lashes look pretty good, and I've been wearing this for like almost 8 hours today. And I really have been liking it. I do notice that it does clump quite a bit when you first apply it, but then I just brush through it with my fingers. I like this more as I've been using it more. I wasn't really crazy about it when I first used it, like the first couple of times, and now I really, really like it. So it is a little bit more of a drier formula, but I like it. And then the other one that I repurchased that I was really, really missing in my collection is the Urban Decay Lash Freak. This is my absolute favorite mascara ever. It just makes my lashes so long and beautiful and gives them so much volume. And I was missing it in my collection, so I just decided to pick up another one. This is my second tube of this. I had tried the sample size of it that I wanted to pick up a full size after that, and I fell in love with it. So I was like, I really needed another one. So yeah, I absolutely love that mascara. Okay, and then just 3 highlighters. I really didn't purchase too many highlighters at all this month. I only purchased one. I've been kind of on a no-buy for blush and highlight. I did pick up a couple from Colourpop this past month. I haven't received them yet, but they're all from Colourpop for the highlighter. So we're just going to go through them really quick. My go-to highlighter for Christmas and December was the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer highlighter in the shade Jingle, Jingle, Jingle. This is stunning on the skin. And look how cute the packaging is. But this one is so multi-dimensional, and I wish that all the highlighters was in this size packaging, because look at the other one that I'm going to talk about. Like, why does it have to be so big? Why can't it be in this packaging? Like the powder. The powder is actually in the same size packaging as this highlighter. So why aren't they all like this? This is so much easier to store. But this is stunning. This is so multi-dimensional. There's so many different colors in here, and it just looks gorgeous on the skin. And I couldn't get enough of it. I just think it's beautiful. So that one is Jingle, Jingle, Jingle. Again, it's not going to show you all the colors that are in it, but it's like red and bronze and gold, and it's just so pretty. I ended up loving that one so much more than I thought I was going to. So that one is the Rudolph highlighter. Then the next one is the Soul Body Shimmering Shimmering Body Powder from the Or Kid You Not collection. And this is a really pretty, like violet lilac color. It's a little bit dark for me, but I think it's so beautiful that I really love it. Okay, sorry, I had to open it up off camera. These are a little bit difficult to open, but really, really pretty. I really like this one. It's just such a unique color, so that's why I decided to get it. I don't really have any highlighters in this color. The one that might be the closest is the Becca highlighter in the shade Lilac Geode. So that one's kind of similar if you guys are looking for something to replace that one. because since Becca is no longer a brand in Sephora or Ulta or at all, this is a really good dupe for it. I have to swatch those two. This one's probably more golden than the Becca one, but it probably is a pretty close dupe. This is beautiful though. I really, really like it. So that's the other Soul Body one. And then the other one is the Colourpop Luster Dust Into the Groove Loose Powder Highlighter. This is freaking stunning, you guys. This is my favorite loose highlighter they've ever come out with. This is blinding. And it's so beautiful on the skin. Oh my gosh. I love this so much. And I've been dying for them to come out with smaller highlighters like this. I don't know if I've shared this already in a favorites video, but it's so freaking beautiful. You're not going to see it, but just put it on your face because, again, that's where the magic happens. And if you need something blinding, it is stunning. Like, stunning. I would put it on to show you right now, but I'm too lazy. So I need to wrap up this video because my neck is starting to hurt me. So those are all the highlighters. Again, I really didn't try too many highlighters this month, pretty much at all, because I didn't really buy any. So the only one I got was the Soul Body one. So I pretty much was on a no-buy for highlights in January. And then I really was on a no-buy for blushes because I didn't get any new ones to show you guys, because those ones are at least from recent collections from Colourpop. But I just wanted to mention these blushes really quick, because I would be lying if I didn't say I used these blushes a ton. For bronzers, there's no new bronzers that I used too much, so I'm not going to talk about bronzers really. But I just wanted to mention these blushes from Makeup Geek. This is my Makeup Geek custom palette of a bunch of shades that I got a while back. So I've been keeping this in front of me along with my MAC palette. I gotta start using my MAC blushes more. But I decided to whip out my Z palettes of my custom palettes that I have. And these basically have like every shade that I would possibly need to like do any look. Basically all the blushes are in front of me. So I wanted to talk about the Makeup Geek ones really quick. So I mostly used, what color is this? Infatuation. My 4 go-to shades were basically these 4 shades up here. This one is Infatuation. What is this one? Is this one Spellbound? Cherish. What is this one again? Bliss and Spellbound. So I mostly used those 4 shades a ton this past month. And Infatuation is such a gorgeous, like, everyday color. And so is Bliss. Spellbound is such a beautiful, like, muted pink shade. Or maybe it's this one. Cherish is, like, a beautiful muted, like, nudie pink. But I just love the tones of these. And they're just so beautiful. And this one is Heartthrob, a gorgeous warmer tone pinky shade. Oh, they're just all gorgeous. And they're beautiful and pigmented. So I've just been using this a ton. So I wanted to mention that. Okay. And then we'll end with some lippies. We only have 4 to talk about because I didn't really buy too many lip products this past month or 2. But I did buy 2 from Sephora and I fell in love with both of them. The first one is what I'm wearing on my lips right now. And this one is the Dior Rouge Dior. I don't know what this is called, but it's in the shade 200. And these are super popular. Every time I go to my Sephora, most of the shades are sold out. I believe this shade is called Forever Nude, and this one I'm wearing on my lips today. It is so super smooth and beautiful on the lips, and it really just does feel like a liquid lipstick. And it's just so super smooth, not matte really at all. I mean, it is matte, but it feels so weightless, and it's just so stunning. And I'm so glad that I got this color, because it's like a muted, darker nude shade, and I love it. It's stunning, but the formula is wonderful. I love every single Dior lipstick I try. I think this is like my 3rd formula I've tried from them, and I think that this is way better than their older liquid lipstick formula, but can you make the packaging a little bit bigger? Because these are pricey. They're like $35, but they're worth it because they're phenomenal. And then the other one is the Bite Beauty Power Move Soft Matte Lipstick in the shade Tamarind. Oh my gosh. I got a ton of compliments on this lipstick when I wore it in my, which video was it? I think my Sephora haul and Colourpop haul video. I was wearing this lipstick and so many people complimented me on the lipstick and how my makeup was in that video. And thank you so much. That was so sweet. This is such a gorgeous lipstick. Sorry for the weird swatch, but it's so good. And it's such a super smooth matte formula. It feels like nothing on the lips. And it smells like cocoa butter. If you know what the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palettes smell like, this is basically what it smells like. And it's just such a beautiful formula. Bite Beauty makes gorgeous lipsticks. And I was just super intrigued to try out their newer lip formulas. And I was eyeing this one ever since I got the lip crayon. I wanted to try one of these Power Move ones. And it's amazing. I love this so much. It's like kind of similar to the Velvet Blur lipsticks from Colourpop, if you guys have tried those, or if you want to try something a little bit cheaper, it's very similar to this. But this one is a little bit creamier than those, but those are very similar in formula. Okay, and then the last two I wanted to mention are just the two cutest lipsticks ever, which are the Rudolph lipsticks from the Colourpop Rudolph collection. These are so good, and I really feel like they improved their Luxe lipstick formula. But this one was my go-to nude in December, and this one is Clarice. Oh my gosh, I wore this a ton. It is such a stunning nude shade, and that one is this one right here. But also, again, I was reaching for them a ton because the formula is just so good now. And then the other one is Rudolph, which is just a gorgeous red shade. I think I wore this on, I don't know if I wore this on Christmas, but I wore it pretty close to Christmas. I think on Christmas Eve. I think I only wore it that one time, but it's a gorgeous red. And yeah, that is pretty much it, you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. Please let me know if you guys tried any of these products yourselves. I would love to know. And what was your favorite product for the month of December and January? And yeah, I love you guys. Bye. Okay, so hey guys. So it's obviously later in the night that I am filming this, but I forgot a lip product, and I can't believe I forgot this because I've been wearing this a ton. I forgot to mention the Colourpop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Super Mellow. I have been wearing this so much just to like throw on, like to film, or just to throw on if I want to wear something like super quick and easy. I'll just put this on, and it really has been super nice on the lips. I really, really like it. I'll just apply it right now. It's really, really light in color. As you guys can see, it's like super sheer, and it has a like matte finish to it. But it's not like anything too heavy. It's just like a light wash of color to make it look like, you know, more like blotted and less like pigmented. And I really have been liking it. It also is scented, but as you can see, it's a little bit more sheer than like a regular lipstick, but it is buildable. So I really, really like it. So I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this. But yeah, I've been wearing this so much, like I said, just to throw on for something for me to film in. If I was wearing like a lipstick earlier in the day that was like a liquid lipstick, I'll throw this on to film in, because like sometimes I don't always want to reapply a liquid lipstick, or I'll just throw this on to run errands while I'm wearing a mask. And it's such an easy lip product to wear underneath because it's like it doesn't just add color, but it's also very nourishing and just an easy lipstick to throw on. So yeah, I'm sorry I forgot this. And yeah, that's it. Bye.